All right. What is happening, Bulls and Bears? We are back. Yes, I've got the glasses on today. I am sick, I think, again. And I've got a child in my family that I think got me sick. And we went to Rady's Children's Hospital last night. We were there till like 11 p.m. And his test came back today, and he's got that. Am I allowed to say this? The CV-19. Y'all know what I'm talking about? It's still around. It's still around, sadly. I don't have it though. I tested negative, so very strange. But I don't feel very good, so my eyes are kind of crazy looking. So got these, economic vision glasses on for you today. But let's go ahead and get right into it without any further delay, because you guys are not going to believe what is going on here. So we're told that the economy is strong, the consumer is strong. By the way, a strong consumer, to the people out there trying to give us that narrative, a strong consumer means you have a lot of credit available to borrow money. That's what a strong consumer means. Because at all-time high debt levels, how can you even call that strong? So as long as the banks are being funded, sure, you could say the consumer's strong because they can borrow money to infinity, I guess. But anyways, take a look at this. In addition to the rate cuts, which on itself, by itself, it doesn't make sense. If the economy is strong, if the consumer is resilient, why do we need to cut rates? Especially when we're not seeing overall deflation, we're still seeing inflation. Um, it's crazy, right? So now take a look at this. The balance sheet drawdown taper coming soon. So remember all those toxic assets that was gobbled up by the central bank to keep the banks basically on life support, basically to keep the banks from imploding. It had to be done. It jumped up to, was it $9 trillion? Now I believe we're down close to $7 trillion. But think about this. Why? Why can't the Fed unwind their balance sheet if the economy is so strong? Here we go. It had reached up to about 9 trillion, just over 9 trillion. Now we're down to about 7.75 trillion. And this chart goes back to 2020, folks. Look at this. We were at just over $4 trillion, and we've only unwound by less than 2 trillion. Only a little over $1 trillion we unwound off of this balance sheet. I say we, I'm talking about the central bank. What is going on, folks? Why can't they unwind all of these toxic assets, right? Because I think because the economy cannot withstand this. You would see rates spike up, the 10-year yield would spike. And we know it's all about easy money, keeping rates low, and they can't sell up all these assets into the bond market because you would see rates shoot up overnight, right? So this whole thing is a joke. The narrative that they're trying to put out there, it's so easily debunked. And maybe if the economy's strong, please let me know down in the comments. Why can't the Fed unwind their balance sheet if the economy is so strong? Right? Simple question. Maybe you can answer that for me. Let's talk about this here: the $20 an hour wages in California. Well, now we've got a bunch of strikes going on here. Pizza Hut workers in LA's historic Filipino town, they go on 3-day strike alleging wage theft. So people weren't having a hard enough time. Now they're getting their wages stolen from them, according to the source there. Let's talk about Boeing. Boeing is definitely hit with a lot of I don't know if you call it a scandal, a lot of uncertainty and a lot of fear. People flying on Boeings. If it's Boeing, I ain't going. I heard someone put that in comments. Boeing CEO to step down in broad management shakeup as the 737 MAX crisis weighs on aerospace giant. There's a few different theories on why this is happening. But could it be that the labor force isn't what it should be? And why are these maintenance workers not getting this? Is it because they're not being paid enough? So they're having a hard time keeping good help, right? There's lots of theories behind it, but it's pretty interesting what's happening with Boeing. All right, folks, let's talk about what California is doing to supposedly help people. It's actually backfiring even worse now. We reported on this maybe a month or two ago. The $20 an hour minimum wage has fast food restaurants laying off more people. California restaurants are reportedly laying off staff and reducing hours for other team measures in an effort to cut costs ahead of California state law taking effect, folks. So here you go, another intervention into the economy gone wrong, right? Pretty much everything, any type of intervention seems to go wrong, right? The effort to reduce inflation causes more inflation. Throwing money at the problem, more inflation. Handouts, well, we're going to give people money to help them afford things. So now you have people buying things without producing anything. Well, it's insane, folks. How anyone can actually sit here and pretend this is a good economy. How I wonder how much these news broadcasters make on these business networks. They have to know that they're putting out a bunch of BS. So you'd have to pay me a lot of money to BS like that. I probably wouldn't take any amount of money. I'll probably start stuttering. I was never a good liar, but somehow these people are on there trained, saying everything is fine, everything's wonderful, and there's no problems, nothing to look out for, and yeah, I'm sure they're making a lot of money out there with that narrative. All right, folks. Bottom line, what does this tell us? This tells us look out for more inflation. Right, they're tapering the unwinding of their balance sheet. Um, Rate cuts ahead, even though the Fed's supposed to be data dependent. We've been promised basically about 3 rate cuts later this year. So I think they're trying to pump this market up before the end of the year. Wouldn't you agree? Um, Folks, be on the right side of the trade, cryptos. Let's talk about cryptos real quick here. Bitcoin over 70,000 again. This is crazy. Gold 2,212. Oil over $82. 10-year bond sitting at 4.25. So, folks, where does this end? And I continue to stack because this looks like it's going to be an inflation nightmare unless something gets thrown into the gears, so to speak, unless we pull the plug on this money creation. They're just going to throw more money at it. They've got a lower rates now. Unwinding the balance sheet is being tapered. All right. So, folks, you know what's going on. I know what's going on. A lot of people can't see what's going on, though. So, what are we headed for, folks? Please let me know what you think about this down in comments. Should we be stacking hard assets, gold and silver? I still try to buy silver as much as possible. I still think that's going to be a very, very good defense for what is coming. And I would always encourage people to consider having 30-day emergency expense out of the banks, food, water, emergency essentials, because something big could come in and drop these markets. Of course, anyone could say could, but all the risks that we have this year are really, really enormous. When you look at the global conflicts, when you look at what the BRICS nations are doing, when you look at the insolvency of the banking sector, um, will it be endless bailouts and there'll be no correction, or is something big going to break and we're going to start seeing big banks fail? Or will they just click a button and keep these banks funded no matter what, with you have endless amounts of money that can be created out of thin air, right? So insane, folks. It all goes back to the system of money. So stack against this, folks, because we see a lot of inflationary forces, but we also see a lot of risks too, right? So it's very, very tricky time to try to prepare for what's headed at us down the road here. Either way, I hope you guys like this report. We'll see everybody in the next video. Keep stacking. Stay healthy. Don't be like me. Stay healthy. If you have kids, you probably get sick a lot easier. I noticed that when I have a family now, I started getting sick a lot more frequently. So I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're feeling well. And again, sorry I sound a little bit spaced out today. I'm on some medication and stuff. All right, everybody. See you in the next video. Peace.